My approach to teaching is that I believe that students are smarter than they think they are, smarter than they even know they are. They can do more. Sometimes it even irritates them to find out what they really are capable of, because they're not really pushed into it very much. I don't believe so much in the teaching of basic rote repetition and regurgitation of facts and figures and information. I want them to think. I give hints, I give suggestions, I drop tidbits, breadcrumbs along the trail, but I like them to use their brains and figure things out, problem solving. I will lead them in a direction and I'll give them clues, but my greatest expectation of them is for them to use what they know, even things they don't necessarily know that they know, and figure it out and come up with the answer, the solution, whatever it is, for themselves, because once they've done that, then it's in there. It's not just something I fed them, they did that themselves, and it means a lot to them when they do. As cheesy as it sounds, I'm inspired by my students. Referring back to my teaching philosophy thing, they're the reason I'm here. They're the reason I do this. I get much motivation from them. I spend a lot of extra time here after school, weekends, preparing, organizing, getting things ready for my lessons. I'm also the coach of the robotics team that we have here. We're also organizing a new club called the Technology Student Association that gives them the opportunity to get involved in more things, hands-on stuff. That is a lot of extra time and effort. I put it in because it's for them, and they get more out of it. And anytime that I'm able to do something like that for a student, it's my chance to touch the future. I'm helping them do what they need to do to get ahead. My favorite pastime is spending time with my son. And this is, it's a new thing for me. I'm in the process of adopting him. He's 16. He came into my life several years ago, sort of connected with me, has turned to me and looked to me a lot over time for advice, guidance, suggestions, mentoring, these sort of things. And it eventually, I'm not going to go into the home life situation, but he's still home with his mother. But he eventually, about a year ago, just came out and asked me, could he be my son? Would I adopt him? Would I be his dad? And yes, I agreed to that. And we're in the process of making that happen now. But getting to spend time with him, do things with him, teach him new things. He is wickedly funny. He is frighteningly smart. He is a great storyteller. And more than anything, and this goes back to the beginning, he loves nothing more than to just tease the old man. He loves to wind me up and get me going. And we have a lot of fun with that. We get along very well with each other. And spending time with him and doing things with him is probably my favorite way to pass my time. If I weren't teaching technology and industry, I think I would probably like to be doing middle school science. I always enjoyed science classes. I always enjoyed the hands-on part of it. Science was always fun to me until I got into the more advanced high school level things where math and that sort of thing came into play, and I'm very weak in math, always have been. But the hands-on aspects of it, the experiments in the lab, the projects, I love that sort of thing. And that was what was always really fun for me about it, and to be able to do that and not focus so much on the nitty-gritty, but to just have the students in there doing hands-on projects, seeing things, learning for themselves, seeing it how it all works by doing it themselves. I've always thought that'd just be a lot of fun. Favorite music, definitely what is now known as classic rock. I am a child of the 70s, and I grew up the biggest and the best bands with the best rock music. That was what was happening every day. I consider myself very lucky to have been there, to have been part of that at the time. So I definitely love those old classic rock tunes that you hear on the radio now. That's not classic to me. That's the soundtrack of my youth, and it takes me back. And I have been known to do the air guitar thing quite a bit, and sometimes I get called out because I've got it cranked up too loud. But if it's too loud, you're too old. I also like jazz. I was in the band program, and I started in 8th grade in the band. I'm a trombone player. So I was very quickly introduced to the music of Glenn Miller as trombone player. And that led me into the jazz world, and being a high school and college musician, trombone player, I have played and listened to a lot of jazz. Really enjoy that. But there's not much I don't like, just depending on the mood I'm in. I am a musician at heart, but those two are my big ones. There's no question that my favorite movie is Star Wars. What is now known as Episode 4 is the original Star Wars movie. It was released about 2 weeks after I graduated high school, and it changed everything. The first time sat in that theater, and the scene where they shifted into hyperdrive and the whole screen just went psh, and everybody in the just, whoa. That movie just blew me away. Myself and my best friend, I actually counted it up before it came out on video and I could afford home video. I paid to see that movie in the theater 20 times. I love that movie. I don't know what it is about it, but absolutely, I'm Star Wars from the very first, the week it was released. The last book I read is titled The Day the World Came to Town. I'm going to check my notes here. Yeah, The Day the World Came to Town, 9/11 in Gander, Newfoundland. It is the true story of the little small airport and the little small town of Gander, Newfoundland, where on the day of the 9/11 attacks, there were 38 jetliners, international travelers, that were diverted to that little small airport and had to land there and stay there after United States airspace was closed. And it is basically the story of the people of the town, how they came together. A little town probably not much bigger than Blytheville is now, actually, and how they dealt with all these thousands of international travelers that just landed on them. And the way the townspeople came together, worked together, helped these people out, provided them with a place to stay, provided them with food, necessities, and the friendships that developed between those travelers and the townspeople since. It's a great story. It's been made into a movie. There was an award-winning Broadway play made out of it. I've seen the play. It came through Memphis a couple of years ago. It's just a great story about, people reaching out and helping each other at a pretty dark time. If I could go anywhere, I think I'd go to Australia. I have been fascinated with Australia ever since I had to do a big report on it when I was in about the 4th grade. And it's just something about it that stuck with me. The people, everything that I know about it, learned about it, it gives the feeling of being a very casual, relaxed, laid-back culture, a laid-back atmosphere. It's definitely a long trip, and I do love to travel. But I think Australia would be fun because it's so different, and the lifestyle there seems to be such that I think I would fit in. It's very casual and laid back, and I think I'd have a lot of fun there. The best advice I've ever received was a life lesson that was taught to me by one of my old musicians that I used to tour with. I haven't taught most of my life. And it really comes down to don't make judgments or assumptions or decisions before you actually know what you're talking about, before you have all the facts, before you have the information. It's a very long story, but what it comes down to was I thought I did not like sushi because I had never tried sushi before, and the idea of eating raw fish was fairly repellent to me. But I was put in a situation where I was given some sushi and took a try and found out I really do enjoy it quite a bit. There's much more to that story, But the reality is, yes, I think that's the best thing, is not to make judgments or assumptions before you really know what it is you're talking about. Get the information, get the data, then you move forward. Something that probably most people around here don't know about me is I'm a pretty good cook. I know my way around the kitchen. In college, my roommate and I were all but running an Italian restaurant out of our dorm room. And we had those frat boys lined up at 3 o'clock in the morning looking for something good and hot to eat, and we could do it. I also have a very good chili recipe. I have entered and won several chili cook-offs with it, and was just, in fact, last night invited to come participate in a chili cook-off that's happening down in Osceola next week. So yeah, I can feed you.